Welcome back to Lincoln's Creations and Rentals. I'm Phil, and this week has been the perfect storm of being bombarded with emails from Rockler and just some of the contests going out at Instructables.com. So this week I've got for you, we're going to make bench cookies. I have been bombarded left and right for like the last 3 weeks with Rockler's bench cookies. Here's a picture of them right here. They've been bombarding me with these for easy tasks such as painting and cutting and stuff like that. Just little gripped riders, little lifts so that I can do my work. And I really think it's a lot simpler to just make them yourself. So in this video, we're going to show you how to make something very comparable to those grippers and actually have a lot of the same functionality. So thanks for joining me here, and we're going to get right into it. To start making these bench cookies, I've grabbed myself a piece of scrap 2x6 I've had laying around. I threw it through the planer really quick, but we're just going to make some markings on here for roughly all the cookies we want to cut out of this. And I'm planning to do round cookies roughly 4 inches in diameter. The one that Rockler makes, roughly about a 3-inch diameter, but I think this will give me a little more surface if I want some friction paper or something like that on there, given what I'm going to do with some of the T-nuts. So in order to do that, I'm just going to grab my pencil here, mark it off roughly every 4 to 5 inches, and then I'm going to pre-drill a hole all the way through so I can use that as a guide for using my Forstner bit to countersink my T-nuts. To make these cookies as versatile as possible, I'm actually going to be adding in some T-nuts. These are 1/4 inch T-nuts that I picked up, but that way I can use the cookie as a riser as well. If I want to use it to pull up a piece of wood, such as this, I'm just using scrap wood right now so that I can drill those holes through it or cut or saw or whatever I need to do. So I'm going to grab my Forstner bit for my Craftsman drill here, and we are going to countersink these, but we're not actually going to install them yet. So I'm going to grab this, get going, and we're going to countersink right at all those marks we had that we pre-drilled in the last step. Now that we've got all those nice pre-drilled, countersunk enough to fit the T-nut all the way across here, all the way up, we're going to flip this board over. We're going to grab a slightly thicker Forstner bit, and now we're going to burrow a deeper hole on the other side. That will allow us to put a bolt through the bottom so we can use the head of the bolt through the bottom here and have it countersunk by itself. So I'm going to do a nice good size Forstner bit here. I believe this one's probably 3/4 inch or 1 inch, and probably go almost the whole depth of the Forstner bit itself straight into the wood, or pretty close. I mean, I don't need to get that far just to get the head of this hex bolt in there, but if I want to throw a washer in there or something else, I'll have a little bit more room. So I'm going to drill those out right now. And again, this is on the opposite side, and I'm doing this before I get to the step of actually cutting them into a circle because I don't want to widen these pre-drilled holes until I'm actually ready to do that. So I moved down to the floor now to give myself a little more room and a little more leverage. We're actually going to cut these out to shape. It's about a 4-inch hole bit here from Milwaukee that you can pick up. They are not cheap, so if you can find either the Milwaukee set that's got some of the sizes you're regularly going to use. I know the big 6-inch hole saw bit's like $40-50 if you're making cornhole tables. So definitely think of what you might use regularly or see if they've got any discounts around Father's Day or Christmas or, you know, Black Friday sort of stuff. But that would definitely help out. So I'm going to start drilling out these holes. I'm going to start from where we countersunk just a little bit first. And see if we can get all the way through. There is my cookie. I didn't quite go in at the straightest of angles, but I made it all the way through to the other side. I've still got my hole there, so I think we're still okay there. I may need to grab my Forstner bit and clean that up a little on this side, but I'm gonna have to widen that hole anyway just for that T-nut, so that's okay. But I'm gonna get through cutting the rest of these right now, and I'll be back when I'm done. So I got those all cut out. As you can see here, I've got a whole stack of them. Got them all, because I ended up getting 11 out of there. I did switch over to my Skil hammer drill and regular drill, the plug-in versus the battery, just because using a battery-powered drill for cutting out burrowing big holes like this is just eats away at the battery, and these, although they're pretty powerful, they're not quite enough to take on, and sometimes they tend to overheat. So I swapped over to this great Skil hammer / regular driver, and it tore right through every single one of these. So now that I've got these cleaned up a little bit, or at least cut out, I'm going to try and clean them up. I need to drill a hole through here that's just a little bit wider, so it takes that T-nut exactly as is. Then we're going to pop that T-nut in there, and then I'm going to drill I'm going to screw in those hex bolts that I have, and I'm going to run these edges through a router round over bit just to clean this up a little bit, sand these down. So I'm going to get back up on the bench right now, make this hole a little bit bigger, get those T-nuts in there, and move on to the router table. I've got all those nicely routed with a nice rounded edge here. So I've moved myself over to my portable downdraft table. If you're interested to see what a downdraft table is, and this one I just made out of scraps I had laying around, please check out the link in the corner of this video, and you can see exactly how I made this out of scraps. I've also got this hooked up to my dust stopper shop vac, so I can grab all that dust without necessarily rolling through filters all the time. So I'm gonna give these a quick clean up, all the edges, corners, well, rounded corners, see if I can clean them up a little bit, give them a nice smooth surface. Got my DeWalt Random Orbital Sandal here, 220 grit sandpaper in there, because I'm not gonna go too hard at these, but I just wanna clean them up a little bit. So I'm gonna get the shop vac on and get this going, get my respirator on here, and see if we can knock this out pretty quick. So I've got them all sanded nice. And so, you know, you don't necessarily have to add the T-nut in here. You can honestly just use that hole saw bit to cut the whatever size biscuit you want, do the routing and the sanding, and you've got yourself a biscuit. Plain and simple. Don't need to do anything else. I added that T-nut in there just so that I can add risers if I want to. This happens to be a 5-inch bolt, fully threaded bolt that I can put in there just so I can raise my surface a little bit more if I were to need to. So that works nice for me. But again, not necessary. The other thing is I would like to add something that grips to these. so it does a little bit of rubber surface or something to bite. And I've got a couple of options. So I've got some old Plasti Dip I had laying around, and I may give that a try and dip these. Or I've got some anti-skid, anti-slip, self-adhesive pads, generally furniture pads. And I think maybe a couple of those strategically placed on the top of each of these, or cut to size, however I wanted to do it, and just either glued on or hope that self-adhesive took real well, might also work just to give me a little bite for these work surfaces. Thanks for joining me in making these bench cookies. If you followed along, you've got a very versatile bench cookie, much like what's sold by Rockler. And you've got a gripping surface and a T-nut. And that way you can modify the size of the cookie, such as putting two of them together, or use it for anything else you may need in the future if you want to connect it to something else, such as a T-track and any one of your other rigs and jigs. So thanks for joining me here at Lincoln's Creations and Rentals. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm really looking forward to using these throughout all of my painting projects and some of my cutting projects. So glad you guys stuck around. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know you liked the video. Please subscribe and check out some of my other videos, especially things like the dust stopper and the downdraft table. And we'll see you guys for the next video.